The Skeptic Zone, a miracle of technology. A universe of reason, the Skeptic Zone.
Yes, it's the Skeptic Zone podcast, episode number 450. Thank you. Thank you, sound effects people. 450 for the 4th of June 2017. Richard Saunders here with you from Sydney, Australia. A bit wintry. It's not quite winter yet, although officially it is, although it's not. For some strange reason in this country, we declare winter to be on the 1st of June. I don't know why. So depending on how you look at it, it's winter. Coming up on this week's show, we're going to kick off with a little report from me about the real-life consequences of having chicken pox. When I was very young, I can't even remember when, and I'm not sure if I can find out, but anyway, when I was under 3 or something, I had chicken pox. And part of that chicken pox has come back to visit me all these years later. Find out what and why and how, coming up at the top of the show. Following that, it's a little news item from the Australian Skeptics website about a university now no longer having crystal healing seminars. Good grief. In the 21st century, there are still outfits out there having crystal healing. What, do they heal the crystals? Maybe there's a crack in the crystal and they put in a bit of putty, I don't know. We'll find out soon, a little bit later on in the show. Then it's Brew Ha Ha Science with Ben Lewis this week, talking about the security risks of having a pacemaker. That's an unusual one. Then it's Susan Gerbic, our old friend Susan Gerbic from Guerrilla Skepticism on Wikipedia. She's going to be visiting the Monterey Bay Aquarium and telling us how important it is to support scientific institutions, as some of them have to resort to running ghost tours in order to make a buck. And I've been on many ghost tours. In fact, I just went on one, which we'll talk about next week. And so far, the ghosts have been pretty scarce, as in non-existent, as in no ghosts. Maybe they're scared of skeptics, I don't know. Anyway, Susan Gerbic tells us about the importance of supporting real scientific institutions. After that, it's the Raw Skeptic, Heidi Robertson, telling us of a story concerning someone we discuss every now and then on the show, Dr. Judy Wilyman, who received her PhD in for a basically anti-vaccination thesis. Very strange indeed. And now she's using the power of a PhD. Well, you'll find out soon how. And the skeptic's response coming up towards the end of the show with Heidi Robertson, the Raw Skeptic Report. Then to round off the show, what a report we have. I was unable to go to the latest Skeptics in the Pub for reasons you'll soon discover with my first report coming up. But Maynard was on hand, and it's sort of a two-part report he brings us. He's going to ask pubgoers why they think more mystics and psychics and clairvoyants and tarot card readers and numerologists or dowsing people or people who pretend or hope or think they talk to the dead and so on. Why more people don't come to us and apply for our $100,000 prize. You'd think they'd be lined up out the door. In fact, this week on various interactions on Facebook, I've asked 2 people to step forward and back up their claims, but they flatly refuse. I wonder why. Anyway, we'll find out. But also in that report from Maynard is is it hilarious? Is it meaningful? It's quite good. Maynard tries his hand at doing CPR on a dummy, a test dummy for medical training purposes. Our good friend Trish Hann brought along a dummy that she uses, and she instructed the skeptics in the pubbers on basic first aid techniques, CPR and so on. I'm really sorry I missed this night. Anyway, Maynard tries to rescue the dummy. Will he survive? Will the dummy survive? Will Maynard survive? Does Maynard have it within him to be an ambulance driver? What do you think? We'll find out as Maynard and other people try to resuscitate the dummy at Skeptics in the Pub. Oh, I'm sorry I missed that one. I really am. I'm sorry I missed going to Skeptics in the Pub. When you hear the report, I think you'll agree it sounded like a really fun night. Now, before we crack on with the rest of the show, I've had requests. And no, some of them are physically impossible. But this one isn't. Some time ago, I used to roll a dice, and people would play at home, try to predict what the dice would roll, which is a bit of a weird exercise in sort of strange logic, because if you think about it, by the time you hear it, the dice, all what I'm about to do is all in the past. I'm speaking to you now from the past. It's all over. It's recorded. You've downloaded it. It's all happened. But you don't know what's about to happen. So in that respect, what I'm about to do is in your future. It's in my future too, actually, as I sit here. Although by the time you hear about it, it's in my past. It's also in your past, but in your future at the same time. Sounds like the basis of a good or a bad science fiction novel. I'm going to roll a series of dice, and you get to predict the outcome. I've got a 6-sided, a 10-sided, a 20-sided, and a 30-sided. Quite a bit heavier. So here we go. Here we go. Let's give it a whirl. I'll start with the 6. So, shaking it now. Predict away, everybody. You've got a 1 in 6 chance. 6. That's our first number. I'll put that aside. Okay, let's move on to the 10-sided. Shake that in my hands and fall off the table. Try again. Fall off the table. Try. It bounces a lot. Come on. There it goes. 10. 10. There we are. So 6, 10. Move on to the 20-sided dice. Isn't this fun, boys and girls? Here we go. 20-sided. So have a think. Number between 1 and 20, or including 1 and 20. 4. There we go. 6, 10, and 4. Sounds like the lottery numbers coming out. And next on the Skeptic Zone lottery, here we go. The 30-sided. Here we go. And it's coming to rest on number 26. I wonder if any of you got any of those. Probably. Of all the people listening, I expect so. But if somebody got all of them, I would be absolutely gobsmacked, because the chances are 36,000. You have a 1 in 36,000 chance of getting all those 4 numbers. Good luck. I wonder if you did it in the past, in the future, or both. It's doing my head in. I better run downstairs quickly, very quickly, and I think I'll just have a coffee and a bagel with a bit of salmon and cream cheese and avocado. A bit of pepper. I'll do that very quickly. Very quickly. I'll run downstairs, run straight back up to bring you the rest of the Skeptic Zone. For the past almost 9 years, in fact, it'll be 9 years very soon, of the Skeptic Zone, the recurring theme, if there is a recurring theme apart from skepticism, is the crusade, the fight, the never-ending battle against the anti-vaccination crowd. Long-time Skeptic Zone listeners certainly know that much of the show is taken up with this issue. Dr. Raichi is a leading campaigner, Heidi Robertson more recently with the Northern Rivers Vaccination Supporters, and many other people in between. And indeed, I made a documentary a couple of years back called The Vaccination Chronicles, which we'll get to in a minute. When I was a boy, a young boy, a baby, I received the vaccinations available at the time. Chicken pox was not amongst them. So I, like many people of the era, the mid to late 60s, got chicken pox. And kids were getting chicken pox into the 70s and so on. This was not an uncommon thing for kids to get. And going back into the decades before that, of course, people got chicken pox as well. In fact, I think I've got a chicken pox scar on my nose, or my mother used to tell me. She would have known. So a couple of days ago, I woke up and my eye was a little bit itchy. Felt a bit odd, bit itchy. It's been like that before over the years. Usually lasts a day or two and then think nothing more of it. So I didn't think much of it. Thought it was a bit odd, that's all. The next morning when I was having a shower, washing my hair, I ran my hands through my hair and just below the hairline on the forehead, I felt these strange bumps. I thought, that can't be right. Looked in the mirror and there were a few little bumps coming up. Some damn insect has bitten me in the night, or maybe a spider or something little has crawled in and just given me a bite. Oh well. My eye was still a bit sore too. It was a bit odd. Okay. So that evening, things are going around my head. Looking at the mirror, these bites seem to be getting worse, which doesn't make much sense. And it was like a little jigsaw suddenly clicked in my head, that I remembered that when I was making the Vaccination Chronicles, one of the things discussed was shingles, which is a decades later result of having chicken pox. The virus doesn't go away. It lies dormant in the spinal cord. And then for some inexplicable reason, I don't think there's a satisfactory understanding of this, it can be reactivated along a certain nerve. And this one has been reactivated along the nerve which goes from my spine to my forehead and down the side of my face past my eye. When this occurred to me that this could be the case, naturally I Googled it like you do, and I saw cases that looked exactly like what I had. Went to the doctor the very next morning as soon as I could, who instantly confirmed the diagnosis. Referred me straight away to an eye specialist because these shingles are around my eye. And naturally, this is when I started to get worried, because people can go blind. Luckily for me, the eye specialist has given me the all clear so far. But I can tell you that this reoccurrence of the chicken pox, after in the order of 50 years since I had the disease, is very nasty. It's painful. It slows you down. You feel like you've got a flu, although you don't have the other symptoms like the sneezing and the stuffy head. It's hard to chew because of when I chew down on the food, it's painful on that side of the face. The eye is swollen, and it looks nasty, and it's itchy, and you don't want to get it. You just do not want to get it. So it's really hit home to me now that these people who won't vaccinate their kids due to reasons largely based on the fringe conspiracy theories out there, big pharma, vaccines cause autism, and the list goes on and on and on, are potentially doing their children such a disservice, even if their kids make it through fine in early life and they get chicken pox, maybe, when they get the measles and they recover. There's something nasty hidden in their bodies for decades. And to think that this virus has been part of me ever since before I can remember. All my adventures, all my travels, all my ups and downs through life, everything I've done, every episode of the Skeptic Zone, every day, every night, the virus has been lying within me, just waiting to activate again. Now, there's a likelihood that this won't reoccur. From my limited research, it seems that once you get shingles, it's unlikely to come back, but it does, it can. So people can have multiple instances of it. There is a vaccine, and as soon as this all clears up, I'll have a chat with my GP and see if that's appropriate for me. But I thought I'd play this little clip from the documentary, The Vaccination Chronicles, available free on YouTube. And this sort of helped me come to the realization of this is what I might currently have when my brain was trying to make sense of these strange, what I thought were bite marks in my sore eye. So from the Vaccination Chronicles, it's a short little bridging bit by me, followed by GP Dr. Richard Gordon. The diseases we've been talking about can affect children for the rest of their lives. Even when all the symptoms are gone, part of the disease can linger in the body for decades, only to return later in life. A very nasty visitor from the past.
One of our latest vaccines, or newest vaccines, has been the herpes zoster virus vaccine, which is the herpes zoster is the virus that causes chicken pox and can recur later and come out as shingles, which is a rather nasty inflammation of the skin. So children or people who are infected with chicken pox, the chicken pox virus, after the illness is over, the chicken pox virus doesn't completely leave us. It hides in the roots of our nerves, in what's called the ganglia of the nerve. So you have a nerve which goes to your fingertips, or say to your chest, and that nerve arises in your spinal cord, and back near your spinal cord there's the nerve ganglion, and so the virus will retreat there until for some reason your immunity drops enough or something happens to you, there's some stressor, and the virus will then migrate along the nerve to where the nerve ends on your skin and burst through and attack your skin, causing blistering and pain and a nasty rash. And so you'll get a patch of blistered, burnt skin. Now, this can be very unpleasant anywhere, but it can sometimes occur on the face. If it occurs on the face, you can get scarring and disfigurement, and it can even sometimes affect the eye, and you can get herpes zoster in the eye, and you can cause loss of vision. Now, that can be quite a nasty late consequence of infant infection with, say, herpes zoster virus or chicken pox. Many people think, chicken pox is a benign illness. All my family had it in the 50s, 60s, 70s and 80s, and none of them had any problem. Well, mostly that's the case, but two things. One is that there is still the odd case of herpes zoster pneumonia, and children have died from herpes zoster lung infection when everyone thought they just had the ordinary old chicken pox. But then much later on, when those same infected people reach their 60s, 70s and 80s, they can burst out with a nasty dose of shingles. And it's hoped that the herpes zoster virus, by preventing chicken pox, preventing the actual seeding of these viruses into our nerves, that we won't be susceptible to those bouts of shingles in later life.
So I guess the message from the Skeptic Zone for the past 9 years, and my message to you today, is to eliminate these diseases in the first place from children via vaccination can conceivably save people in their 50s and 60s and 70s, your children, one day, from potentially losing their sight, or at least, in the very least, having a very nasty time with painful blisters and feeling very unwell indeed. The Vaccination Chronicles video is free for viewing on YouTube. Just Google the Vaccination Chronicles and you'll find it. As for me, I'm on the drugs recommended by the GP, and I'm feeling slightly better by now, and I hope to have a full recovery.
Did you see that UFO sighting that made the news? What did that latest study about alternative treatments really say? Is this photo making the rounds real or a hoax? Doubtful News is a unique website featuring news about pseudoscience, the paranormal, anomalies, and questionable claims framed with a skeptical view. Come visit doubtfulnews.com every day for news about cryptozoology, conspiracies, shams, scams, and more. Follow us on Twitter at Doubtful News. Critical thinking is essential in assessing today's news. Doubtful News helps you decide, can you really believe this stuff?
Here's an update from the Australian Skeptics website at www.skeptics.com.au. Written by Tim Mendham, published on the 31st of May 2017. Edith Cowan University bans crystal healing training seminars. Edith Cowan University has decided to ban training seminars on crystal healing from its campus. The seminars have apparently been running on the university grounds since 2011, and the next one was due to take place on June the 25th. But in response to queries from Australian Skeptics Inc., ECU Vice-Chancellor Professor Steve Chapman said that, quote, "We have written to the organisation and requested that they remove all reference to these events on their website. We will not be accepting any booking requests from this organisation or related organisations in the future," end quote. He added that, quote, "After conducting a thorough interrogation of our venue booking system, we have been unable to identify any bookings for this particular event or any future events of this nature," end quote. This may be because the seminars might have been under the name of Namaste Life Centre, which runs the events and offers a range of crystal healing services. We have suggested the university look into the possibility to ensure that the events do not still run under a different name. These seminars were designed to teach would-be health practitioners how to do pranic crystal healing. At the seminars, quote, "You will learn how to harness the power of one of Mother Nature's precious gifts, crystals and gemstones, which you can use to enhance your healing ability, spirituality, and prosperity," end quote. Among the topics covered, increasing your healing power by 200 times or more by using special crystals, extracting negative emotions and diseased energies from your aura quickly and easily, creating personal barriers and shields so you don't have to absorb your patient's diseased energies when healing. Good grief. The Namaste Life Centre in Perth is managed by husband and wife team Dean and Sandy Tollis. Dean Tollis is also a change management consultant to businesses. Diseased energies, eh? That update comes to us from the website of Australian Skeptics, skeptics.com.au. The wait is over. Tickets are now available for Skepticon, the 2017 Australian Skeptics National Convention. The skeptical highlight of the year. Our 33rd convention is being organised by Think Inc. and will be held on November the 18th and 19th, 2017 at the City Recital Hall, Angel Place, Sydney. This promises to be a great event with speakers including science media star Dr. Karl Kruszelnicki, of course, astronomer Alan Duffy, YouTube super debunker Captain Disillusion, comedian and MC Lawrence Leung, former naturopath and now critic of Alt Med Britt Hermes, doctor and TV personality Dr. Brad McKay, award-winning documentary maker Sonia Pemberton, Walkley Award-winning journalist Kathy Marks, and Dr. cum magician Dr. Viram Sharma. More great speakers will be announced soon, as well as news of the convention dinner on the night of Saturday the 18th of November. Single day and full weekend tickets are available. skepticonaustralia.org.au. And now, direct from the cafe at Australia's Science Channel, it's Brew Ha Ha with Ben Lewis.
If you're going to hack a device, a pacemaker might not be the first one that comes to mind, but it could be the easiest. It turns out there are over 8,000 security vulnerabilities in common devices, exposing them to hacking. To actually hack a pacemaker, you need to get pretty close to the person, probably in the same room. But that doesn't make the possibility any less real or any less scary. The most dramatic reasons to hack one are to assassinate a person or hold them to ransom. But it's more likely to be used for identity theft, as pacemakers and other medical devices contain a wealth of personal information. In the mad rush for a hyper-connected future, it's apparently way too easy to forget about basic security, as only a small amount of medical device makers install any security features at all. This is the canary in the coal mine. In a rush to make things work better, faster and more conveniently, let's not forget the basics of device security, because the hackers sure won't.
For more Brew Ha Ha and Australian science, head for www.australiascience.tv.
Greetings, listeners. It's me, Captain Disillusion. On my YouTube channel called Captain Disillusion, I, Captain Disillusion, analyze viral videos of the strange and unbelievable. I explain how interframe video compression, 3D motion tracking, and stock VFX elements prove that Justin Bieber is not a secret reptilian alien, that those videos of ghost cars are just unintentional optical illusions, and that lightning did not strike a few feet away from a girl on a beach as we saw on the news. I'm real fun at parties. My best friend is a lens flare.
Eat a dimmer switch, Disillusion.
I do know other people. Sometimes they even show up in my videos. People like Skepticism's grandpa, James Randi, Cirque du Soleil acrobat Erica Lins, weight loss enthusiast Penn Gillette, and the actual Beekman from Beekman's World. I hope you'll check out my adventures, interact with me in a platonic way, and even consider becoming a patron of my work. You can do all that and more on YouTube or at CaptainDisillusion.com.
This is Susan Gerbic from the Guerrilla Skepticism on Wikipedia, speaking live from the Monterey Bay Aquarium in Monterey, California. I am visiting the Monterey Bay Aquarium because I live about a half an hour from here, and I think that it's real important that we come out to these things and see them once in a while. Any kind of location you can go to. Museums, they really need our support. Because a lot of the museums, especially the little local museums, like a lighthouse or a historical home, maybe the first mayor's house or something like that, they're dropping off in their money. I mean, they don't get a lot of money for that. We're not here in the United States. We don't get money for historical homes so easily unless they're extremely popular. And what's happening in a lot of the museums is they're having to go to the paranormal route, which means that they're inviting in ghost hunters, they're making up stories or, elaborating on stories with people hearing creaks and seeing something spooky. And they're doing this because that's how you get the money. People come in, they want to see the ghosts. I've talked to lots of people at different places, and they say that more than half of the people who they actually come in and ask questions want to know about ghosts. And so I think a lot of places are having to go that route, and it's really, really sad because the history of locations is so important. Like, for example, the Stanley Hotel in Colorado, The Shining was written, I believe it was written there, or he was inspired by it or whatever, but it's really, really pushing the ghost angle. They have a psychic on at the area. They also have ghost hunting tours. It gets more views, more tours than the actual history of the museum, of the hotel, which is really, really interesting. The Stanley steamer was invented there by two brothers. They also used to make violins and do some pretty amazing things. So the Stanley Museum was really, really interesting, but the ghost tours are the ones that get the biggest bucks. The other problem is, when I was in Sydney visiting the Australians on my Australian tour in 2015, I went to a convict museum down there, sort of near the Opera House in Sydney. It's called, oh my gosh, I can't think of what it's called at the second, but I went there a couple different times because I found it fascinating. They have a lot of really great exhibits that shows the history of the convicts that came to the Sydney Harbour. And one of the things that they had there was an exhibit devoted just to the rats, because the rats are actually the curators of the museum, because the rats would take little small items like pens and matches and buttons and coins and jewelry, and they would take it and they would put it in their nests underneath the museum. And it was so interesting to see what the rats collected over the years, that when they restored the building, they were able to pull up all these little bits and bobs, and it told the history of the museum. But also they are still going the paranormal route, and they've invited in some ghost groups to do some paranormal investigations there because they need the money. I really, really feel sorry for him, but that's kind of the world we live in right now. The paranormal is what sells, and not the history or the beauty or the historical significance of an area. Sad. The only thing I can think of to do about it is to improve the Wikipedia pages for these places, and that's what I did with that museum that I'd seen in Sydney, so that people will maybe want to go and see the place just for its historical value. Take lots of photos, that's nice. Share them on your social media, share live videos when you go, and people should just go to places and look at them and give them your dollars and check in on Facebook or Twitter so other people will want to go. This is Susan Gerbic from the Guerrilla Skepticism on Wikipedia, speaking live from the Monterey Bay Aquarium in Monterey, California.
It never ends. A friend starts talking about his new Reiki master, and someone else posts about another all-natural cancer cure that they don't want you to know about. As skeptics, we dedicate a lot of time trying to protect those around us. But there's a way you can reach millions. Guerrilla Skepticism on Wikipedia is a group that is working to keep the best skeptical information at everyone's fingertips, in all languages. Join us. Training is self-paced and fun, and we have our very own super-secret Facebook group. You'll be educating the world in your sleep. To find out more, email us at gsowteam@gmail.com. Guerrilla Skepticism. The time is now.
Music by bensound.com.
It's the Raw Skeptic Report with Heidi Robertson.
Hello everyone, Heidi Robertson here from the Northern Rivers Vaccination Supporters. In The Australian on May the 24th, 2017, by Julie Hare, the title is Anti-Vaxxer Putting Her New PhD to Good Effect. Armed with a new PhD from the University of Wollongong, anti-vaccination campaigner Judy Wilyman has lashed out at a West Australian journalist who questioned the science behind a new documentary on supposed links between vaccines and autism. In an email to Wollongong University Public and Population Health Professor Heather Yeatman and Alison Jones, its Executive Dean of Science, Medicine and Health, Dr. Wilyman requests they remove information from the university website, quote, about the safety and efficacy of vaccines, end quote. Dr. Wilyman said, I ask that you remove this promotion to ensure that there is an open and transparent debate on the academic literature. Dr. Wilyman attached the email she had sent to Cathy O'Leary, the medical editor with the West Australian newspaper, countering an article she had written on a new film called Vaxxed that links vaccinations with autism. In it, she writes, quote, this film is not anti-vaccination. It provides evidence of the cover-up of the scientific literature that demonstrates that vaccines, specifically the MMR vaccine, are a cause of autism. The link between vaccines and autism has not been discredited, and this is described in my PhD thesis published on the University of Wollongong website, end quote. Dr. Wilyman was conferred her PhD thesis, which warned that global agencies, including the World Health Organization, were colluding with the pharmaceuticals industry to inappropriately push vaccination earlier this year amid heightened security as graduation organisers anticipated an outcry from protesters. Iran Segev, president of Australian Skeptics, told the HES that with a PhD under her belt, Dr. Wilyman was showing heightened confidence in the dozens of emails she bombarded opponents with. Quote, "The University of Wollongong has brought this upon themselves by signing up a PhD student on a topic of scientific grounding to be granted in the Faculty of Social Sciences without adequate control," Mr. Segev said. He went on to say, "The university allowed the conditions that let a clearly flawed PhD to be granted," end quote. The university declined to comment. In her email to Mrs. O'Leary, Dr. Wilyman claims that, quote, "over 130 peer-reviewed studies show vaccines are a plausible cause of autism, and Vaxxed provides evidence that researchers at the US CDC, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, were asked to destroy the evidence they found in their 2004 study that proved the MMR vaccine causes autism. The addition of each vaccine to the schedule correlates to the 5-fold increase in life-threatening chronic illness and autoimmune diseases in Australian children since 1990, end quote. That's the end of the article, and last time I checked, there were 4 comments underneath the article from the general public. First comment reads, "Having read Wilyman's thesis, I, and probably any other balance-minded person, would like to see some comments of the contents of the actual thesis. So far, all I see is ad hominem arguments. Boring." And the second one, "Dr. Wilyman's PhD is an indictment of the University of Wollongong and of her supervisor, Professor Brian Martin. Not only does it rob all the university's social science degrees and PhDs of credibility, it also shows that the university's Vice-Chancellor is incapable of acknowledging and correcting an inexcusable error. Small wonder university experts are becoming universally distrusted." And the next one, "Who on earth did the peer review of her thesis?" And the final comment, "As a medical researcher, all I can say is what credibility does the University of Wollongong have in awarding a PhD on a topic which has no scientific validity?" And that's all from me for this week. This has been Heidi Robertson from the Northern Rivers Vaccination Supporters, www.nrvs.info. And you can also find us on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.
Hey, Kenny.
Oh, hi, Tom.
Nice day at this park, yeah?
Yes, great weather.
Oh, look, a unicorn.
Unicorn? There are no such things as unicorns, silly.
Yes, there is.
No, there isn't.
Hey, guys, what are you arguing about?
Tom thinks unicorns are real.
They so are.
Let's look this up in the Skeptics Dictionary.
The what?
How can we do this in this park? There is no computer here.
You guys probably don't know about the Skeptics Dictionary app. Available now for iPhone, iPad, and iPod Touch in the App Store.
Wow, cool.
The app lets you access all of the great Skeptics Dictionary articles when you're on the go. Here, let me look up unicorns.
Oh, cool. Kenny, prepare to be proven wrong.
It says here, the unicorn is a creature from fables.
Aha!
Actually, I see now that someone just dumped their ice cream cone on that horse's head. Thanks, Skeptics Dictionary iPhone app.
Here's Maynard's spooky action at a distance.
And welcome to Skeptics in the Pub every first Thursday of the month at the Occidental Hotel here in scenic Wynyard, where if I look out the window I can see an office. Wow, that person's really going to get a promotion. Anyway, I'm speaking to someone who has got high in the corporate ladder now. In fact, if you just do anything, she's in charge of it. Hello, Jessica.
Hi, Maynard. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Of course, you're one of the shadowy elite of the skeptical world.
That's right.
And as a member of the shadowy elite of the Skeptics of Australia, you would be perfect to answer tonight's question, which is, if psychics are so sure of their ability, why don't they step forward more often to claim the $1 million and, in Australia, the $10,000 prize for being able to demonstrate some paranormal ability?
Yeah, well, I think it's actually $100,000 in Australia. Yeah.
It's gone up just in the last few minutes. That's amazing.
A not inconsiderable sum of money. However, I would postulate that.
Oh, heck, you're going to postulate, people. Listen closely. If you've got children, hold their ears.
As one of the shadowy elite of the Australian Skeptics Committee, as Maynard pointed out, and one of those rarefied Illuminati.
One of the insiders.
That's right. I turn into a lizard each night and crawl into my burrow and curl up. I would postulate that many psychics have very successful businesses.
Yes, they do.
So they probably don't need $100,000.
Well, there's that. And look, my opinion is that they think the whole thing's rigged against them, and that's why they don't do it, or they think that you can't test these kind of things, or they think that their ability is unique and can't quite be tested by science, which is its own religion and won't admit them. There's a couple of ideas, I would think.
Oh, absolutely. And they come up with all of those excuses for as a reason or reasons not to be tested. But really, I think it's like, why would they bother? $100,000 would be small change.
Okay. Look, I've heard a few times, and Jessica Adams, the astrologer, she says that that realm isn't for us to make money, you see. So it wouldn't be for psychics to make money from their ability so obviously as that. But when you think about it, if they have a business, they are making money from it. Yeah.
Well, if you call a psychic and on a phone line and you find out how much you have to pay per minute to actually speak to them, I think they're making a fair bit.
And of course, if you ask them for the winning lotto numbers, one of the reasons that they can't, well, maybe things aren't fixed in the future would be an answer, but then again, that would invalidate what they're doing, and then they would say, well, you're not really supposed to make money from this, but they are. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I suppose what they'd say is they're making money from providing the service, but then their service is not intended to allow people to benefit financially.
Even though they are,
yes. They're allowed to benefit financially because they're providing a service at which they charge for, but providing the lotto numbers, nah, forget it.
What about the sort of counselling they give people when they talk to people? Because even if they are cold reading people, they are helping people in some way.
Yeah, I've heard that argument too, and people have said to me that psychics are really the poor man's psychiatrist.
Yeah. And, skeptics have quite a reputation as naysayers. They say nay. Yeah, like there's a whole negative thing going on, and that's also why they can't be tested, because skeptics are negative because they're not open to it.
We kill the vibe. We do. We kill the vibe. If it's a real scientifically measurable form of energy, then nothing should kill it. I mean, a skeptic will walk near a phone or a computer, and our skeptical energy doesn't suddenly stop those things from working.
What if it's an energy that you can't measure yet?
Well, as we say, there's a Nobel Peace Prize in it for anyone who can manage to prove it.
Look, and of course, when you're at the bar at the Skeptics at the pub, first Thursday of each month. Now, by the way, Richard Saunders cannot be here tonight. He's protecting his secret identity as one of Catwoman's henchmen. If you watch any episode of the 1966 Batman, you'll see Richard Saunders as one of Julie Newmar's henchmen. He's in almost every episode. Oh, hello, Dr. Brad. How are you?
Hello. Have you just outed Rich?
Yes, I've outed Richard Saunders as a henchman of Catwoman, but I've got to say, if you've got to be a henchman of someone, that's kind of the coolest one.
As long as you're wearing PVC or latex.
That's right, with little cat ears.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, called Meow on the T-shirt. And look, I know you've come from your Batcave with your secret identity as Robin. Now tell me, now why do you think psychics haven't stepped up and claimed the $1 million prize?
Well, I think it's hard to prove that they were the one that has been able to predict the future. Often when we look at things, they've sort of predicted 100 things at once. So it's sort of a bit of odds. So if they come back and say, yep, I've got one thing right, but they've got 99 things wrong, then it doesn't quite beat
With your scientific, sceptical mind, how would you assess a test for them if someone came forward? How do you reckon you'd run it?
Well, there are many tests that James Randi has done to check out whether psychics can be producing the truth or not. So I would refer to all of Randi's work, and I'd bring him in.
Well, I'm next to someone who made sure they got a front row seat tonight. Who have we got here this evening?
Lara.
Hello, how you been? How are your cats going?
Oh, they're going good. They're good.
Yep.
Settling in.
A two-cat owner, that means you've got quite a handful there, haven't you?
Yes, definitely.
And by the way, they're rescue cats, so when you get rescue cats home, do you just let them go and then they find a place they want to hang out for a while, then they come out when they're ready? Is that what you do with a new cat that's a rescue cat?
Yeah, these two in particular are difficult because they were going to be difficult from word-go. The vet left my house the other day bleeding, let's put it that way.
Ah, right. So everything's on their schedule, I guess. Yeah,
but in 1 week, they have made immense progress. They're coming near me. I still can't touch them, but they're coming near me. So I'm actually quite surprised at the progress they've made.
And speaking of progress, how are you feeling having two cats around? Because you must be enjoying that.
Oh, very nice, yeah. I can't wait for the school holidays where I get to spend some proper time with them.
Yeah. Well, now, what we've been watching here is we're watching some people doing some CPR on the dummy over there. Did you learn anything from watching this tonight?
Well, actually, because I'm a teacher, we're required to do this training once a year anyway. Last time I had to do it, we still were having to do the rescue breaths thing, which I was crap at. I could not get these lungs inflating. I was the last one out of about 100.
Because you haven't got big lungs yourself, is that the problem?
I don't think I could get the seal over the mouth properly.
Oh, okay.
I blame it on the dummy.
Yeah,
but,
indeed. And so do you know any teacher that's ever had to do this? I mean, it would be a very rare event in a school or not?
I'm fairly certain at least one of the guys at school has, yes. One of the PE teachers. Our school's very, very sporty, so there's a lot of teenage boys on the field, so I'm pretty sure at least one of them has had to do it, yeah.
Wow, okay. Well, other question we're asking tonight on a sceptical level is why do you think psychics haven't stepped forward to claim the prizes offered by the Australian Skeptics or Randy for their paranormal abilities? Why do you think they don't step forward a bit more often?
More often. I was about to say, they do step forward, but they obviously fail. I think this is just my opinion, I think after a few of them had stepped forward and failed, then I think the others, they make all sorts of things up about why it doesn't work and why the tests aren't fair. So I think that spreads around the community, and then they all just think, oh no, I don't want to do that. And then they make up other things like, I'm not in it for the money. Silly excuses, yeah.
Well, I might have a crack at that. I don't know if I'm going to be strong enough to do that, but I'll give it a go.
Yeah, give it a go.
Oh, okay. Now, Alethia has just stepped forward to give it a go here. Let's see how she goes.
So, continue CPR.
Oh no, my hearing came up.
You weren't moving it very much. How do you manage if you can't get any leverage?
If they're on the floor,
you're quite short.
Stop
CPR.
Stop CPR. Don't touch patient. Don't worry, ignore him. Keep going. Yeah, keep going. There we go. It's easier, isn't it?
Is that exhausting?
Don't touch patient. Press flashing shock button. I killed her.
Now, actually, we're live on the scene here. Now, Alethia's doing some CPR there. How would you describe how she's going?
She's fantastic. This person will live. Okay. Absolutely.
But was it really necessary for you to give her a Heimlich while she was trying to give CPR? That's not helping anybody.
I was giving her more gravitational assistance.
Oh, okay, by picking her up. And that's why she's actually put the patient on the floor. So if you ever have a CPR patient that's on a table, should you try and get him onto the floor?
Absolutely. If you think you can, absolutely.
And may I ask you if you've ever had to unfortunately do this?
I have, yes.
Okay, and obviously us civilians would find it very traumatic, but does it ever get routine for someone in a hospital?
I've not done it enough for it to be routine, and I've only ever done it in a hospital setting. I think if I'd done it outside of a hospital, it would probably screw me up more than otherwise.
Yes. I was talking about the Lucas device earlier there, which is a device you don't see as much in Australia. I tried to get the New South Wales Ambulance Service to make some comment on it, but I couldn't get them to answer.
Got them. We've definitely got them. We have them. We have them at RPA in Camperdown, and I don't think that's just an us thing. I'm pretty sure that they are out there. Right. But yeah, they are new to the market down here.
And that is a device that is basically something that mechanically gives compressions.
Yeah.
And does it actually do a reading while it's doing it so it can alter its rate or not?
It never alters its rate. It has to give it at 100 BPM.
So it's got to have someone with it to see what's going on.
Well, but it does it all automatically. So what that enables you to do as a paramedic is that will give you compressions. You're not knackering your arms out, so you can do things like you can get a line into the patient. You can have a look at the breathing, because obviously paramedics are more able to give proper rescue breaths.
This raises a very interesting question. This very famous person who's had some life after death experiences, and they were claiming that in a medical unit in New York, they had a Lucas unit on them for quite a length of time. Now, would you have one on for a person for minutes and minutes and maybe even a half hour on?
Absolutely.
Well, you would you?
Absolutely, yeah. So what can happen a lot of the time, there's a device called an ECMO. It's a line that goes straight into you and it oxygenates the blood outside the body, bungs it straight into you. It does the work of your heart. So a lot of the time what they can do is they have the Lucas on the patient while they're putting the ECMO in. So it can be on you. There's no realistic limit to how long it can be on you. Right. However, obviously, there are realistic expectations.
Right, okay. So, yes, because I wondered why you would have it on for so long, but if it was a young person and there was a chance of recovery and there wasn't anything else going on, they would give it a go.
If it was a sudden cardiac arrest on a sports field, you would have that on them for as long as it takes. Right. And that's the thing as well, is that there has been some studies to come out that say that we give up CPR maybe sooner than we should. Obviously, in certain circumstances, say it was a 19-year-old football player, we're going to keep that on for as long as we can. And as you can see, it's exhausting to actually do it.
Yes, I'm going to give it a go in a minute, but I've got a feeling that puny old me is not going to be very good at this, you know?
I say you need to give it a go because I reckon you'll surprise yourself.
Rightio, I'll give it a go in just a moment.
And just think of the Bee Gees.
Yes. I saw Staying Alive and I thought, great, she's going to be talking about everything from Spicks and Specks through to Mine Disaster 1941, Heaven Missing, you have everything through to Staying Alive, but no, it was just something on bloody CPR.
I'm very sorry.
Now, you put a little, you do radiography where you can see what's going on in people's hearts there.
Yes.
When I see that, I think how painful that would be, but we don't feel that, do we?
The thing you feel is the needle going in, and sometimes
and you feel the thing up your arm and everything going up there?
No, some patients kind of said they're aware of it, but they don't feel it.
Right,
yeah.
Okay, good. And can you have meds when you're doing it there? Can you have Valium? Oh, good, okay. Now, I might see some after this. I'm just going to... Yes, hold the microphone. Okay, I'm going to undo this. I don't know how to go. Okay, so...
Roll your sleeves up.
Right, I'll put... Right, now, okay. Let's just go all the way here. Okay, now.
You're getting serious.
So let's get going. Okay, so do I start now?
So,
now that,
your
like
dominant hand on the bottom.
Right.
That's it.
Okay, this is like a night of hellfire already. Okay.
Like that, and then the other fingers like that.
I'm sorry?
That's it, like that. And you're using the heel of that hand.
So it's all with the right arm that we're doing this, so we're not using both hands, really?
Well, you are, but you want your dominant hand underneath because that's the one that you can lead with.
Okay, rightio. Are we ready?
And you're keeping your elbows as straight as you can, and you're using your body weight to lean forward.
Let's see.
Do you want to do it on the floor instead?
I'll do it on the floor because
it's easier on the floor.
Excuse me, miss. I said that was not a good idea, but you didn't. No. Okay, here we go.
All right. Oh, blimey.
Is that what I'm...
So follow the beeps. And that's it.
For 2 or 3 minutes, or...?
As long as it takes, until you get tired and until someone else can come along and take over from you.
Right, so would this have broken the person's rib by now?
You'd have had a good crunch on the first go, I'm afraid.
So if you don't hear a crunch, you're not doing it right.
But you will, yeah.
Got a break there.
And probably when you're doing this, it's probably best to get tunnel vision and don't even think about the person at all because you don't want to be watching the rest of them, do you?
No, you don't want to, if they're... Yeah, just get it done, exactly. Go into robot mode. Okay, so he's now saying stop CPR.
Wow.
So he's going to analyse the patient.
Oh, okay, yep. Okay, yes.
And then he's going to maybe ask for a shock. There you go.
A shock, right. Michael Jackson had a conveyor belt to do that walk.
Shock advice. So, 2 minutes, press the button.
And stand back.
Stand back.
There you go, the patient. That's the first time I've ever done work on anybody and they've lived. Oh, hang on, didn't mean to say that. Look, and also the whole thing about clearing their mouth and doing the mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, everyone thinks that's really icky. I'm thinking, oh, great, Hep B, A, B and C you can get from that. Yeah, all of those ones, yeah. But you said you don't have to do that.
If that's what's putting you off giving CPR, don't worry about it.
Okay,
if you've had the training and you are adequately trained in how to give it, and if you have access to, say, an ambo bag, which are these little masks that we've got here, and there are enough of you, that's the other thing as well, is if it's only you, just go with hands only. If there are a few of you that can get involved.
And how can you accurately tell there's no pulse? Because you said earlier that the layman can mistake there's a pulse when there's not or something.
Don't bother.
So you just hoe into it and hope the person... Yeah, couldn't you hurt them?
No, this is the thing. You can't hurt someone. If they're faking it, they won't let you continue.
But you've broken their ribs.
Oh, I'm not sure. I don't think we've threatened to give CPR to a patient who was pretending to be
that old one.
And he changed his mind just as soon as we started getting close.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's someone who's doing it for attention, which unfortunately some people do. Oh, let me give him a shot.
Yep. And it's and where that mark is that so? Is it halfway between the nipples, or is it lower than? I thought it was a bit lower than that.
So it's right in the middle of the sternum, which is that main breastbone. And if you have a feel, you can feel here.
Ah, yes.
The end of the that's called the zippy sternum. That is the bottom.
Hang on. Now, I've got a particular... Mine's easy to feel. Feel that? You put one finger there and feel mine.
Yeah.
I've got a pokey out sternum. Does that mean that did you have to push even harder on me to get to the heart because I've got a pokey out sternum?
No, not at all. It just means it's easier to find.
Oh, okay. Well, that means they could find it easy on me. Well, you never know. It's still early in the night.
But you don't want to be on that. You want to be in the middle of the sternum.
Oh, so sternum and up.
Between that bit on your neck and the bottom bit there, right in the middle.
Right, yeah, okay. Well, and if you're out by a little bit, so it is between the nipples. Oh.
Well,
if you're out by a bit, you won't give a good compression.
You won't, but
it's better than nothing.
It's better than nothing, and don't go by nipples because everyone's nipples move.
Well, yeah. Look, you're not telling me anything. That's just Wow. Okay. Okay. Well, what if someone? Here's one. What if someone has pierced nipples and you shock them? Is there anything bad that could happen there?
There is a Mythbusters episode about exactly that thing, and it's fine.
Okay, cool, okay.
It can cause a slight singe, but that's better than death.
What if they've got a nitrate patch on them as well, the one that is the explosive that's good for your heart, yeah?
Yeah, you probably take that off, but the chances are...
There's not enough there to go bang.
No, I would hope not. However, oxygen, if they're on oxygen, that can start a fire.
Yeah, that's flammable, that stuff. They should ban it.
They should ban it. It's dangerous.
Oh, and we've got our rocket scientist here. How are you, sir?
Oh, hello. Very good. How are you, Maynard?
Hello. Hey, look, that dummy was giving me an upskirt. I had none of that.
Something.
Okay. Now, did you learn anything from the CPR tonight, Ian?
Yes, I did. I learned it's very exhausting.
Yeah. I got through it, but I had to have a drink beforehand. Have you had to have a shot beforehand? Is there time for a vodka shot or something before you do this?
Oh, maybe if you want to.
Yeah. To unlearn what I learnt about CPR.
Oh, really?
And is the recovery position just for vomiting, or is the heart more relaxed on its side?
No, the recovery position, it stops you from inhaling your own vomit. That's what it does. And it also, once you've rolled the person over onto their side, then they can breathe easier if maybe they've got lots of weight.
Right. Okay.
For example, large breasticles.
Or really muscly guys that go to the gym.
Maybe.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And of course, everybody wants to come along to Skeptics in the pub. It's the first Thursday from 5:30 at the Occidental Hotel on the second level, which is near Wynyard Station.
That's exactly right, Maynard. You got that spot on. At the next meeting, which is in the first Thursday of July, we have a paranormal investigator named Beth Luscombe.
Oh, and now what group is she from?
She's from Paranormal Australia. And she goes out and tries to find ghosts and all sorts of weird ghoulies and all sorts of things like that, and psychic powers. I think it's mainly ghosts and things that she's looking at, actually. And she'll be talking about her investigations and interesting theories about the people who see ghosts.
Oh, now, I may have spoken to her at the Kashula Powerhouse when they had their group was out there and had a great chat with her. And if it is the same person, she has spoken about only one experience with UFOs that she had where she saw something, I think, in the Blue Mountains, and she found it as being a little bit mystical when she saw it, but that's the only thing she's seen that she couldn't explain. So she's quite down to earth with her visions of things.
Yeah, she's very down to earth, actually. I mean, sort of in some aspects, she might also almost admit herself that she's a bit sceptical. And her talk will actually be a pretty good mixture of a pretty independent view of actually what makes these things tick.
And the question for tonight, too, I've been asking people, is why do you think psychics don't come forward more often and try and claim the prize? Well, why don't psychics come forward more often than they do? Because I'm told they do come forward occasionally, but why not more often?
Because they can't do it.
Well, you're the frontline guy. You're the guy who picks up the phone. So how often would you get someone who claims they have a psychic ability that don't take it any further once you tell them what they've got to do?
Once a week.
Once a week?
Once a week.
So what was the last one that happened? Can you relate that question? Ring, 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 and you pick up the phone and say...
hello. I know who you are already, because I'm psycho. The last one I got a few, actually, fairly recently. One person couldn't melt snow.
Oh, well, isn't that a combination of time over temperature?
Yeah, I told him, he was actually overseas and wanted to come here, and I said,
he put it in his mouth.
He stares at it and melts it after a while.
But so that's like that guy who has the healing stare. This guy has a very moderate heat ray.
Heat ray, yeah. See the little things coming out of his eyes. Apparently, he could get a whole bunch of snowballs and melt one. We could nominate a particular snowball, but I did say it's a slight problem in Australia, getting a bucket full of snowballs.
Yeah. So would ice from the fridge work, or that's not the same thing?
No, he was definitely talking about snowballs, actually. I think he said he could bring his own.
Well, you could if you had a really good esky. Imagine coming through customs. What do you got in there? Snowballs. Oh yeah, sure. But you got a few headphones from Colombia as well.
What snowmen have.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, look, we look forward to that. That's the first Thursday of next month
in July.
What's the date?
Yeah, it is, absolutely. I've got no idea.
Okay. Whatever the first Thursday in July is, come along to the Occidental here at about 5:30 and everything. We'll all be here having a good time, and you're very welcome, and everyone will be a bit sceptical, and we'll be talking about paranormal things. I think it's my ideal night out. I don't get out much.
Neither do I, Maynard. I'm not allowed out very much, actually, but my doctor says I can come here.
I can see why you're giving people cassettes. You aren't popular.
Thanks, Maynard.
Well, it's been quite a night here at Skeptics at the Pub at the Occidental. I've had a good time. I've learned a bit about CPR. I've successfully done CPR. I've seen someone giving CPR while getting the Heimlich manoeuvre, and that was very special. And Dr. Brad's now talking about intestinal problems that have come to his surgery, so I think it's time to go. Whenever Dr. Brad's talking about poo, it's usually time to leave because he's got the in-the-field experience that you don't want to hear. Maynard from Skeptics in the Pub saying, see you later. I'm going to run downstairs, see how many drinks are half finished on the bar, drink them all, and then send Richard this to edit. Enjoy the Skeptic Zone and give to the Skeptic Zone. Richard Saunders is out there every day annoying people with his tin cup. Why don't you do something and donate to the Skeptic Zone on a regular basis through Patreon and do something to get some money for the show, because he's doing it for you, so you should do it for him. I'm not quite sure that came out right, but you know what I mean.
Hi, this is Ben Radford.
And this is Pasquale Romero from the Squaring the Strange podcast.
Every week, my co-host and I cast a skeptical eye at a different topic.
Monsters, ghosts, demons, mysteries, and even current events are dissected and discussed with a fun, unscripted, and skeptical take that you're sure to enjoy.
Find us at squaringthestrange.com, iTunes, or on your favorite podcast platform.
Thank you for listening to the Skeptic Zone, and thank you everybody for being with the Skeptic Zone for so long now. 450 episodes. It is a bit of a milestone. Now, I've had people ask me if I'm going to make it to episode 500. I expect so. I often wonder myself. Look, if the show lasts to episode 500, we might have a special live broadcast or something like that. I've got a year to think about it. We'll see. We'll see. One more roll, folks. One more roll of the 10-sided dice. For those people who may be missed out on getting all the numbers before or any of them, let's have a go. So I'm rolling the 10-sided dice. Here we go. It stopped on number 1. Number 1. It's fun. That's fun. I wonder how many people out there. I suppose you could do a rough guess just by the odds alone. Coming up on next week's show, I joined the Stranger Things Down Under group here in Sydney as we go out to Cockatoo Island in Sydney Harbour late one night for a ghost tour. A lot of fun it was, a lot of history, a lot of fun. I join Alethia, Lara and Trish, who you all heard just then in the Skeptics in the Pub with Maynard. I hope to score some other interviews coming up soon, and I'm sure my reporters will be sending me interesting reports for you all in the coming weeks. But for this week, this is Richard Saunders. Oh, I am feeling somewhat better since I made that recording about the shingles. It's going through its phases, but I'm getting there. Anyway, this is Richard Saunders signing off from Sydney, Australia. You've been listening to the Skeptic Zone podcast. Visit our website at www.skepticzone.tv for contacts, an archive of all episodes since 2008, and our online store. Please support the Skeptic Zone by following us on Twitter @SkepticZone, liking us on Facebook, and leaving a review on iTunes. You can also show your support by subscribing via PayPal for as little as 99 cents a week. The Skeptic Zone is an independent production. The views and opinions expressed on the Skeptic Zone are not necessarily those of Australian Skeptics Inc. or any other skeptical organisation.